Greetings and welcome to our daily walk through the scriptures for April the 12th. Today your readings found you wrapping up Joshua chapter 7, reading Joshua chapter 8 and chapter 9, also reading Luke chapter 16 verses 1 through 18, Psalm 82 1 through 8, and Proverbs 13 2 through 3. So today we're going to jump back over to Joshua since we spent some time on Luke yesterday. And, this is just one of those days where I kind of had to pick which one I wanted to do because it's just not enough time in 5 minutes sometimes. But in Joshua 7, 8, 9, we see a couple of situations that are really kind of curious, and you might even look at it and think it's kind of harsh and cruel. For example, in Joshua chapter 7, you get the story of Achan and this dude getting destroyed. And why was he destroyed? Well, he was destroyed because he kept some things for himself. This is, you look at this and go, why did God kill Achan for this? He just kept a robe and some silver and some gold. And so why did this happen? Well, the bottom line is because Achan just didn't believe God. Achan just didn't follow God with his heart. He believed that the value of the things of this world were more important and more valuable than the things of God. See, here's the thing, and this is going to sound a little cruel, so bear with me for a second. The things of this world lead to death, whereas the things of God lead to life. When we follow God, when we pursue Christ, and we pursue His law, we are pursuing life. Whereas when we pursue the things of this world and the things that we believe will advance us, we're actually pursuing death because they don't lead to anything of benefit. Achan didn't believe that what God was going to do, that God was going to accomplish what he did. And so I guess Achan created for himself a little bit of a backup plan. And you have to remember that in this time, things are being established. Things are being set up and created for the people of Israel so that they will follow God from this day forward. If God were not to hold everyone to the same standard, then where would people be? Then what would people do? And so when Achan disobeyed God, he believed he got away with it, number one. So this proved that God is sovereign, just like Joshua says in the previous verses from yesterday. Sovereign Lord, why didn't you let us defeat these people? Well, when they finally realized that they couldn't hide their sin from God, they realized that God is the way to life. So Achan brought judgment upon himself, and then the people of Ai got it. And then you read about in Joshua 9 the Gibeonite deception. And you're like, well, why? This is a little bit weird. These people were tricking the Israelites. Shouldn't that have negated their oath? No, it shouldn't have. And this is one of the reasons why God cautioned the Israelites, by the way, in the Pentateuch, to be very careful about oaths that are made. Don't make them, in other words, is what God said. If you make them, you will be held to them. And so the people of Israel, after this situation with Achan, the leaders of Israel probably thought, we could go back on this, but we saw what happened to Achan and his family when we didn't believe what God said, so maybe we should. So even though it was a horrible tragedy for Achan, it did create the standard and the obedience that the people of Israel needed. Now remember, we're reading this in the context of our day, 2024. This is happening like 1,500 years before Christ. So we're talking about, 3,000 plus years that this has been happening, 3,500 years that this happened. And so this was a very different culture and a very different time. And gods were often called upon, and these were false gods, and they didn't do diddly squat. They didn't do anything. And so God is here to establish to the people of Israel and tell them, I am real. I am the real God. I am the only God. And so this was the Bronze Age, and they needed that kind of affirmation to help them better understand who it was that God is and why God was different from these other false gods. Okay, that's our conversation for today. We'll talk more next time.